Hi, folks. Welcome back to Crisco's Corner. Amy Coney Barrett's first case as Supreme Court Justice could be one that decides presidential election. Yeah, theoretically. There's a couple of states that are playing fast and loose with the rules, if you want to know the truth of it, Pennsylvania being one. One of the first cases you could hear is the new Supreme Court Justice who will decide who wins the White House. Also, there's a case coming up on the Affordable Care Act. I never liked the Affordable Care Act. I'm self-employed. I think it screws over people like me. All it did was expand Medicaid. That's all it really did to 20 million people. It was a first step in, I use air quotes when I say this, universal health care. There is no perfect solution for health care in the United States. There is none. And destroying the entire economic foundation of the country to achieve that, I think, is cooking a marshmallow with a flamethrower. But that's just me. When the Senate votes on Monday evening to confirm Judge Barrett to the United States Supreme Court, it would be over a week before Election Day that will decide what both parties are portraying as the most important race in American history. If Barrett is confirmed to become a member of the highest bench in the country, and with the Republicans easily having enough votes to confirm her, that seems to be a foregone conclusion. One of the first cases she could hear as new Supreme Court Justice could be who decides who wins the White House. Well, no, not really. I think that's, even though I go along with Fox most of the time, that's badly worded. She's going to make her decision based on the law and prior precedent. She said that from the very beginning, so that's a little skewed. Courts at all levels have been deluged with cases relating to balloting in the run-up to the Election Day. And amid the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, but one in particular has garnered national attention. Republicans in a key battleground state of Pennsylvania want the Supreme Court to rule on whether ballots received after Election Day can be counted. That's a tricky one. Are they post-dated on or before Election Day? Maybe they might be able to squeak through. What I don't like is you get the results of election night and see that the Democrats are short, we'll say 12,816 votes. Well, mysteriously out of nowhere, 14,000 ballots appear across the whole state. That's my concern. That's the problem. Republicans in key battleground state of Pennsylvania want the Supreme Court to rule on whether ballots received after Election Day can be counted, with the state still very much up for grabs in its 20 electoral college votes, possibly being the key to who the next country's president is. Both Republicans and Democrats are heavily invested in what happens to those late arriving ballots. Well, of course. Of course. I'm all for fairness. If you lose the state of Pennsylvania fairly as a Republican, then you lose it fairly. But it's not fair. It's bad enough almost the entire media is against the president, has been for 4 years, and pounding. The censorship by social media, pounding. That's bad enough. But the Supreme Court, well, maybe the Supreme Court do something about the social media stuff, and if they reform 230 in the legislature, if they can get their act together, House and Senate. Supreme Court justices split 4-4 last Monday over a Republican plea to undo a state court order and force election officials to ignore absentee ballots received after Election Day, November 3rd. The tie vote left the Pennsylvania court in effect and allows mailed ballots to be counted if they were received by November 6th. Chief Justice Roberts and his 3 liberal colleagues voted to leave the court order in place. I can't agree with Justice Roberts on this one. It depends. He didn't go into details. Was it received through November 6th? Was it postmarked the 3rd or prior to it? With the possibility of Barrett, a conservative jurist, joining the bench and giving the court a 6-3 conservative majority, well, it'll be 5.5, 3.5. Sorry, Chief Justice Roberts. I mean, you're an incredibly good guy, but lately I'm disappointed in you. Republicans are hopeful that the Supreme Court would rule in favor of ignoring ballots received after Election Day. Well, the weird part is everybody says, well, all the mail-in ballots are mostly Democrats. Well, the weird part is in some of the states we're seeing that's not true, that most of the ballots being returned are Democrats. So who the hell knows? Democrats, on the other hand, are decrying Barrett's confirmation as a political act by President Trump to help him maintain the White House in a race that shows him consistently losing in the polls and his voter suppression tactic. Enough with the voter suppression. How about this? Every single state, starting next November, you want an ID. Oh, don't do IDs. It's blah, blah, blah. It's not this. It's not that. Okay, fine. Every state has a state ID for voting. every single one. If you don't apply for it and don't get it, if you don't have other ID, i.e. a driver's license or other accredited ID, you can get a state-issued ID, state being the state you reside in, with your picture and your address and your name. Address, of course, so you don't get the people that come from, say, New York in their snowbirds and they go to Florida before Election Day, can vote in New York absentee and then vote in person in Florida. I think that's wrong. They go, I know here in this county, when you go to register, they want the last four numbers of your social. So I think every state should issue an ID to somebody who doesn't have proper one, so that if they go to vote, you show your ID. It's really that simple. State will pay for it, and it's effective, say, 5 years. I don't know, like driver's licenses. Some are 4, some are 5, some are 10. It's unbelievable. It's not a voter suppression tactic. It's a voter fairness tactic. How about that? One more vote provided by the hard right, Trump-nominated justice would be the difference between voting rights and voting suppression, said Chuck Schumer on Tuesday. Oh, will you please shut up? It's just enough is enough. Enough is enough. Trump already has signaled one reason for Barrett's speedy nomination. Just 8 days after Justice Ginsburg's death was to have her confirmed and installed in court in time for any real election lawsuits that might reach the justices. No. He saw it as his chance to put a third Supreme Court justice on. His term doesn't end until December 31st. And in fact, there's an old video, not that old, from 2016, where Justice Ginsburg said the president until January 20th. And he has all the powers and authorities therein. Period. The court's conservatives, including Roberts included, have regularly sided with state officials who object when a federal court relaxes election rules, even if the changes arrive from the coronavirus pandemic. At the same time, the Supreme Court generally don't disturb state court rulings that are rooted in state law. But it's a federal problem. But civil rights lawyers and election law experts said the vote in Pennsylvania case indicates at least 4 conservatives may be willing to look at the state court election-related decisions in a way that calls to mind Bush v. Gore. I remember that fiasco. Remember the hanging chads? Remember that crap? Republicans related in part an opinion from Justice Clarence Thomas and 2 other conservative justices in Bush v. Gore to argue that the Supreme Court should get involved in the case because the state court had improperly taken powers given by the U.S. Constitution to state lawmakers when it comes to presidential elections. Yeah, the state can't do anything they want to. I mean, in all fairness. The court ruled for Bush on other grounds that ballots were being handled differently across the state in violation of the Constitution's guarantee of equal protection. That's true. You either treat them all the same or don't count them. I can go along with that. And I remember when it happened. I was a Democrat at the time, actually, and I was a little peeved. But actually, time went on, and I saw what really the case was about. I think they settled it the right way. Based on Judge Barrett's record, there is every reason to believe that she should have been a 5th vote in favor of the Supreme Court overstepping its bounds and interfering with a non-federal issue that it would jeopardize voter access. Kristen Clark, President and Executive Director of Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. Really? Seriously? The group opposes Barrett's confirmation. Oh, really? What a shocker. The Senate on Sunday voted 51-48 to limit debate on the Supreme Court nomination of Judge Barrett, setting up a vote on her confirmation for Monday evening. Sunday's vote limited debate over President Trump's court nominee for 30 hours. I should say 230 hours. That's a lot. Meaning the full Senate will be able to hold a confirmation vote Monday beginning at approximately 7:26 Eastern Time. Well, it'll be interesting. The Democrats didn't show up for the vote to bring it to the floor for a vote in committee, but I'll bet you they'll show up and run their mouths pretty good, especially Kamala Harris. Can't wait for that one. It's so ridiculous. 2 Republicans voted against ending debate. Susan Collins, Republican of Maine, who's in a dogfight right now, and Lisa Murkowski from Alaska. Murkowski has, however, indicated she will vote to confirm Barrett. Now, there's some breaking news that Susan Collins is going to vote against Judge Barrett. She's in a close race. It's really a shame. And I thought she handled the Kavanaugh thing so well with her statement. She was beautiful. I don't know what happened. She's afraid of losing her Senate seat. I can understand why she did it, but it's... Anyway, previously, Supreme Court justices needed to clear the 60-vote threshold to advance to the High Court, a tradition that forced nominees to win bipartisan support. But Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky changed the standard in 2017 to apply for a simple majority. That's technically true, but not entirely factual. It was Harry Reid many years ago that pulled what they call a nuclear option, so 50 votes would pass. And the Republicans said to him, don't do it. This is going to come back and bite you in the behind. And they basically gave the Republicans the middle finger and said, too bad. They left that part out. Changed the standard in 2017 to allow for a simple majority, a move that allowed the confirmation of President Trump's previous two nominees, Justice Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh. It was the Democrats that changed the rules. Every time they change the rules to try to screw the other side, it comes back to bite them in the behind. I don't know why they don't learn the lesson. But I guess they're so short-sighted in their thinking. They don't care about 2 years in advance, a year in advance, 3 years in advance, 5 years in advance, 10 years in advance. They don't care about the country. They just keep about the temporary power they have, and they'll figure it out in 2 years how to screw over people again. What a terrible cycle. Anyway, folks, there's a lot going on with about 10, 12 days left. Please go out and vote. I also want to mention I'm a new podcast, so if you could like and subscribe, I would really, really appreciate it. It's tough getting started here, especially conservative people like myself. I think I'm getting shadow banned even though I'm a small channel. I can't fight back, so I need subscribers, get a base up, get some views in, and maybe I can get some traction here. Anyway, folks, again, thank you, and thanks for your time and attention. And until next time, goodbye and good luck.